Well, good morning and happy Monday to you. I had a story I put out about an hour or so ago, and I was like, you know what? If there's going to be clouds and a little bit of drizzle out there, let's bring you the sunshine today. We want to be that for you, that positivity that you're looking for in the morning. I ran into so many old friends in the TV and the radio business over the weekend. We'll talk about that in just a second with the huge celebration, and I do mean huge celebration that took place for our dear friend Brian McKenna over the weekend. And we all talked about waking up to hope, right? Inspiration. And they all were complimenting my entire team of what we do on this show every day. And so if you're brand new, I know a lot of friends of Brian's are coming over to this show looking for the same kindness that he put out to the world. So welcome to each and every one of you. And for you long timers, thank you so much. Continue to share the show. Immediately tell your friends and family, hey, this is the show you want to wake up to. And if you are brand new, come on. In the moderating section, I have Jenny at home, and she's looking for your comments, and she wants to say good morning to you, as everybody does. As they're signing on, we will shout out to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show this morning. So we're going to talk about sun, by the way, bringing you the sunshine. That's why I wore this outfit today. We are going to talk about long-term damage of sunburns. Okay, a lot of people getting out there. The weather's starting to shift. We're getting into summer, and a lot of you might be making those beach vacations, or you're just hanging by the pool. Well, what kind of damage are you doing to your skin long term? Bring your questions, by the way. If you've got concerns, maybe you want to put pictures in the comment section that our Dr. Sarah Jensen can look at. We'll also talk about the best self-tanners that are out there, one, in fact, that she carries at Regional Dermatology. And then once we are burnt, and a lot of you know that that happened to me a couple of weeks ago, what do we do? What should we be putting on our skin? You hear aloe a lot. Well, she's got a natural way to do it. So a lot to come in our Medical Monday segment with Dr. Sarah Jensen with Regional Dermatology. We'll also give away our first 1-year membership, absolutely free to you because you watch the show, to Crunch Fitness. So that's coming up this morning. Right at the end of the show, we'll give a 1-year membership away to one of our viewers. We, of course, also have weather for you. And as I said, it is a little cloudy today. News you can use coming up, some sports news, and a recap of that wonderful celebration for Brian McKenna. But let's get right to it with the segment we call What the Weather.
Good evening, Louis, Missouri, and it is a beautiful one. Hey everyone, here's a look at the forecast for this week. Starting out with today, high of 91 with mostly sunny skies, likely going to get to 90 for the first time in 2025. Now tomorrow for our Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, again keeping that high in the low 90s. Now on Wednesday, we are expecting some thunderstorms, so be prepared for that. That does continue into Thursday as well. 80% chance of thunderstorms with a high of 82 on Wednesday, 60% on Thursday, again with a high of 82. Then moving on into Friday, we do have a 50% rain chance. Then Saturday, less of a rain chance with some sunshine, but still looking at some rain around the area. And then Sunday, again, we are expecting some rain. So enjoy the weather today because it's not looking so good for the rest of the week.
And that is our aspiring meteorologist, Beckett Moore. He is off on vacation, and he could have just said, hey, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. But instead, he's putting together these wonderful videos for us. So, Beckett, thank you so much. And be sure to follow Beckett on X, or again, you know it as Twitter, and on YouTube at Moore Weather Official. And Beckett, I can't wait to have you come back and give us a little recap. He was showing us Niagara Falls the other day. He told me breathtaking scenes that he's seeing. Well, over the weekend, we were all guessing how many would show up. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Some guessed as much as 5 to 7 to 9,000. Somebody even said 50,000. Well, I'd like to see it grow to that, and I hope this becomes an annual thing. If you didn't get a chance to go on Saturday, this is what our dear friend wanted. He didn't want a funeral. He didn't want a memorial service. He wanted you to party. Friends and family came out like crazy. We have to say thank you to this woman, Stephanie. She was one of the main organizers of this incredible event for our dear friend Brian McKenna. If you didn't know Brian, boy, did you miss out on life. He loved South St. Louis. He loved his family. And in fact, his brothers are on this next screen. I want to thank Bill McKenna, who I worked with for a long time at Fox 2, right there in the middle. His twin brother and his family, they were out there. Again, Stephanie did an incredible job. Ted as well. They were so dedicated to making sure that Brian's day was exactly as he wanted. Again, the estimates right now are about 2,500 people. There was some drone footage that my dear friend Dave Sharp took for us, and Fox 2 was guessing about 2,400 people that came out. Our friends were there. Manny was there, as you can see. Family, that's my Fox 2 family. It was so good to see them all again. As I mentioned, Bill, who's there at the bottom right, he has worked for Fox for a long, long time, and it was just so good to see broadcast veterans because, again, Brian was such a huge impact in the broadcasting community, as well as just how much he felt about South St. Louis and about the community in general, about giving back to the world. And so proceeds, a good portion of the proceeds from the day went to charities that were very near and dear to him. He's very big in law enforcement, children with cancer, and so many others. So again, as I mentioned, family and friends coming out galore. We had a wonderful time, and he could not have asked for a more beautiful day. Again, just across the board, it was absolutely stunning. Some more of our veterans, Tim Gilbert there, as well as J.C. Corcoran, who did a wonderful job emceeing, Paul Cook over at Channel 5, Jeff Gordon from a longtime St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, Andy Banker, Todd Thomas, that one guy. Smash was there. Reed Lowe was there. Again, everyone that had an opportunity to come out. And if you missed it, well, here's the thing. There are so many people saying, will this become an annual thing? That is the hope. I asked Stephanie to let me know when that is confirmed, but people are not only saying they want it to be an annual thing, they want it to turn into a national thing. You know how we do National Day of calendars? We want to thank the mayor for making it officially a proclamation of Brian McKenna Day on May 31st. So stay tuned. As soon as we know for sure, we will pass it along to you that it is in fact becoming a annual thing. So thank you to Biggie's. Thank you as well to New York Tom's Food Truck, to Pueblo Solis, and I didn't want to forget anybody who else was out there. Oh, and JJ Twiggs. So thank you to all of the establishments that were a part of that. Well, there is a St. Louis officer, a fallen officer, that was memorialized over the weekend, and they dedicated memorial benches. Do you remember David Dorn? I remember, unfortunately, covering this story. The officials dedicated these benches to Captain David Dorn and his family. Family members and fellow officers were there yesterday afternoon to honor the life and the legacy of Captain Dorn. They dedicated 2 memorial benches at St. Louis Place Park. Dorn was killed while responding to a burglary alarm back in 2020, and even though he was retired from the police force at the time, he continued to serve the people of St. Louis. Again, just like Brian, right? City officials also presented the Dorn family with a special resolution honoring Captain Dorn's service and his sacrifice. Thank you, sir, for what you did, a true hero. Well, we've been talking about the tornado damage from a couple of weeks ago, and still many homes and businesses picking up and looking for any kind of assistance. Well, now the zoo tied to this. The St. Louis Zoo, the staff turned tornado damage into food and enrichments for their animals. After tornadoes downing multiple trees at the zoo, the staff decided to make the best of the situation. Their nutrition team gathered over 1,000 pounds of leaves from the trees and the limbs that fell during the tornado that hit St. Louis May 16th. The zoo said these leaves will be used as snacks and enrichment for the animals throughout the coming months. So we always say we go through horrific things in life, but it's amazing of the mindset of what people are able to do and how they turn something bad into something good and worthwhile. We always talk about if we have any kind of recalls, that we pass those along to you. If from a food standpoint, from a car standpoint, or you might want to check for this. This could be at your home. Over 100,000 kitchen faucets are being recalled due to dangerous lead exposure for your young kids. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, over 100,000 faucets being recalled. The 3 recalled models were sold under the brands it's KICIM Pro. So Kitchen Pro, maybe, and then Basdehen, Bats to Hen. And then the other one I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It is VFAUOSIT. Two of the models were sold between January 24 and this month, while one of the other models was sold between May 2024 and this month. The notice states that testing revealed the faucets contain lead that could leak into the water and potentially harm infants and young children. You should only consume water from the faucets after running the water for 15 seconds, according to the commission. So you might, if you have those in your home, again, you might want to call to find out what you can do with that recall. All right, let's talk some sports news. First, we're going to start off with our St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals were in action, and they lost 8-1. What a huge loss here to the Texas Rangers. It's the Royals and the Cardinals in St. Louis tomorrow. First pitch will be at 6:45. How about the Battlehawks wrapping up their season? And it was a hot one, 13-0. Friday, May 30th was the way they wrapped things up with the season. They finished hot again over the DC Defenders. And if you remember last year, DC beat us. Now it's back in our court. And then St. Louis City SC, they did fire their head coach. We told you that earlier in the week. With their interim coach, of course, that's how it would happen, right? They finally won a game, 2-1 against San Jose. In fact, they won on a penalty kick. So their next game is against Portland in St. Louis, and that'll be on Sunday. Game time is at 6 p.m. And then we go into our National Day of Calendar. If you like rotisserie chicken, well, that's on tap today, National Rotisserie Chicken Day, as well as International Volkswagen Bus Day. It's National Bubba Day, National Leave the Office Early Day. Okay, so the boss says that's okay. And if you're a fan of Rocky Road, today is National Rocky Road Day. That's how we do it. And you're all caught up. We always like to get you caught up before 7:15 in the morning. Then we get into our topic of the day. But before we do that, let me say good morning to all of you that have been on early for us. Julie, Jenny, Sean, Linda, Kathleen, Carrie, all saying good morning to the team and to the community. Babs, good morning to you. Manny the man, I will miss him. He has gone to a good home. Yes, in fact, Babs, he went to my cousin's home, I believe. I think Glenn has him now. So Babs, the dearest friend of Brian McKenna. And Babs, I hope you enjoyed all those pictures and all the videos. She unfortunately couldn't be there, but I can guarantee you she was glued to social media looking at the fun that we all had to honor your dear friend. All right, we're going to take our break. And when we come back, my dear friend, Dr. Sarah Jensen, and you love her as well, from Regional Dermatology, she's going to take care of us. More importantly, right here, our skin. Do you protect your skin with sunscreen? You need to. We're going to get into the dog days of summer and talk about the protection aspect that we need. And then don't go anywhere, because we are giving away our first 1-year membership free to you simply because you watch our show, to Crunch Fitness. That's coming up before the morning wraps up. Don't go anywhere.
Carroll House Furniture homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
I just want to say I had an absolutely amazing time getting together with you and talking about how everybody can make a day just a little bit better than it was yesterday. You're doing tremendous things I just love the spirit in which you want to help those around you and help your community. You've always been like that. What a great time. What a great show. I love our fellowship. I look forward to doing more with you in the future and checking out a few of these churches and seeing where our paths are going to cross and what kind of fun and entertainment and love we can bring to the table. I love this, and I think you're doing a killer job. So, love you.
All right, and that's exactly how you do it. Just search The Real Monica Adams on YouTube and then tell your family and friends. If they don't want to be on social media, YouTube is one of the platforms that they can watch. In fact, that's the one that sticks around. Did you notice? Facebook started to delete your videos after 30 days. So a lot of those videos go away, but not on YouTube. So you can make sure you follow me on YouTube, and then you and your family and friends can see all those past shows. And we have had several with my guest that is with us now on this Medical Monday, Dr. Sarah Jensen from Regional Dermatology. Wonderful to see you again. You made me laugh. You sent me a picture right before you got here, and this is key, right? So as parents, you can tell your kids to do things or not do things, and they're going to make up their own minds. So here she is, a dermatologist, and always saying we need to put our sunscreen on, protect ourselves, maybe not bake out in the sun. Do your daughters listen?
Not at all. No, no. I sent you a picture of them laying out, just soaking in the sun yesterday. Right.
But does she have sunscreen on?
She said she uses it on her face. I'm not sure I see that.
She's going to go, Mom, just always keep an eye on my skin.
Right.
No, we love to be real. So that's
Right.
just very real. It doesn't matter whether she's a dermatologist or not. You're going to do what you want. But
Right.
hopefully you listen to us, because this is, yes, we're kind of kidding around here, but it's serious stuff. And we were talking about this actually yesterday. There was a big event over the weekend for our dear friend Brian McKenna. It was a gorgeous day, but we started talking about you coming on the show, and I had a bunch of guys and girls come up and they're like, oh yeah, I had this removed, I had that removed. And I was like, yeah, so you've got to pay attention to this. That's why it's important to have a person that's going to be taking care of you and having regular exams. So at least an annual exam.
Right,
But then
right.
if you're catching something, don't let it be there. And then
Right.
in your mind, you're like, is this something?
Yeah, I can reassure people. Sometimes it's my best visit when I can just tell someone that's an A-OK visit, A-OK spot. You can live a long time with that. And it just takes so much off of their mind.
Right.
But if you catch things early, it's all the difference.
Right? Yeah. Just we want to put your mind at ease. If you have not seen our guest, Regional Dermatology is her in Festus. We actually just went by yesterday. We were on a motorcycle ride. We'll talk about it again. I did put sunscreen on my arms and my face, but we went by your Festus location. And then whenever I'm heading down to see my mom in Lake St. Louis, I always wave. Do you see me
Thank
waving to
you.
you? I'm like, hi,
I
Cynthia.
can feel it.
I can feel it. So she's got these two locations that you can see on your screen here. Again, south, down in the Festus area, and then as well her office out west. So yes, if you don't have someone that is there to take care of you, or maybe you do and it's like, this person doesn't, I don't really feel connected to him, you are your own advocate. Find a physician that's going to love you and take care of you, and she does, and her staff does. And again, as we mentioned, peace of mind. So we're going to officially get into summer, all right? And I think it's like a couple days away. We'll check with Beckett on the actual day, but it already feels like it. In fact, we're talking about 90 degrees today. So when we're stepping out of the house, we've talked about this before, but we do it every year because it's important to do so. I told you I'm going to be real. We were at an event just a couple of weeks ago, expected to have a big umbrella over us. We went and did a site test, and that was our plan.
Right.
What we didn't plan for was how crazy windy it was. So the umbrellas would have been dangerous. They would have been whipped up. So immediately in my head, it was, oh my gosh, we're going to be out here baking. And we were. I'm still, as you can see, I'm still peeling. So my arms were burnt. My back of my neck, I literally became a redneck. was burnt. And so right away, my mind was, what kind of damage did I do? So if that happens and we're peeling and whatever, what is the suggestion? We'll also talk about how bad those burns are you're looking at. And it wasn't necessarily painful. I expected it to be. It looked like it would be. If it's painful, what should we put on? And then secondly, should we be coming into you shortly thereafter to say, okay, what did I do?
I mean, I don't think an acute visit is necessary. I think there's simple things you can do. One, you can just do ibuprofen or Advil, just to reduce the inflammation, the swelling. You can use topical steroids like a hydrocortisone or Cordaid. You can. I keep an aloe vera plant right by in the kitchen for like cuts and scrapes, and I use that if we have a sunburn as well, or just a burn in the kitchen. And we literally just break the leaf off and apply it to the skin. It's as simple as that. It's easy plant to grow, and I am not a green thumb, so I can keep it alive. Anybody can. There was a study that showed like high doses of vitamin D in like a one-time dose, like 50,000 to 200,000 units of vitamin D in a one-time dose can help with reducing the inflammation.
Okay.
Because if you took a biopsy of skin that's sunburned, you literally see what they call sunburn cells. They're just little necrotic, which is like a dead little cell under the microscope. So you're trying to reduce that inflammation and keep those cells alive and healthy.
Okay. And you had mentioned in some of the notes that you would prefer that someone actually use an aloe plant as opposed to the products that are on the market that maybe have coloring to make the green. What else is in those that are maybe not be the best for us?
They put alcohol in those, which, you're already dry, so you want to moisturize. And the last thing you want to put is alcohol in that skin. So they have just, if you flip over the bottle, you'll see just a whole list of ingredients. And you and I are both more like natural based, like just really understand what's in our products. So just taking it from the plant is so simple. You can pick them up like I think I've got mine at Lowe's or Home Depot. Simple,
Yep, and then you're just taking that ooey gooey stuff out of it and putting directly on the skin.
It is kind of that gelatinous kind of. It isn't the most pleasing, but it dries very quickly. And if you put that on with a good moisturizer, I like to use coconut oil. People can use like olive oil. Simple things. It doesn't have to be expensive.
And then, are we reapplying throughout the day, or are we just putting it on once?
I think I'd put it on 2 to 3 times if you really got a good burn.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned to you, sometimes it's not just a sunburn, but people have like a reaction to light.
Yes.
So I had developed this, unfortunately, on my honeymoon. I was a resident in medicine, and I had a rash just sitting out in the sun. And it happens when you've been kind of indoors in the Midwest, where we're not getting as much sun exposure in the winter. And then spring comes, we go on our spring break, or in my case, on my honeymoon. And next thing you know, you've got a rash in sun-exposed areas. Now, it usually spares your face because your face sees sun all the time, like little bits. So it's called hardening. But it can, come on the arms, the chest, the legs, and can be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, we've got pictures of this. And I've experienced this before.
Yeah.
Long, long time ago. A lot of people do this. You're coming out of being inside, right? You're coming out of colder months. You're probably much more pale. And then immediately it's, hey, you want to go to the beach on vacation? Right. And you're going out, you're south of the border, and you're closer to the equator. It is really, really dangerous to be out in the sun, period, right away, your very first time. But people are not thinking about it. They're in the water. Oh, I'm in the water. I'm in and out of the water. And then all of a sudden, your entire vacation is ruined because it's miserable.
Right. It is really uncomfortable. And so, I myself picked up whatever hydrocortisone, whatever over-the-counter products they had in the, gift shop, and was just, it did help. But now I send patients with a little bit of prednisone, a stronger topical steroid. Some patients will even come in before their trip, and they'll get like a shot of prednisone just to really calm it down. But then there's also more natural options. Like I think I told you, when my kids and I went on vacation when they're younger, you're not so sure that they're going to reapply that sunblock. There's a product called HelioCare, which is a plant-based supplement, very safe, and that can actually add some added protection in addition to the sunblock. You can't just use that alone, but it can really help.
Okay, so those that have never ever experienced what we were talking about with regards to this, again, like a poisoning and it looks like an allergic reaction to it, take them through. What's it called?
We call it PMLE. It's a polymorphous light eruption. Polymorphous meaning it can look a lot of different ways. It can look like hives. It can look like little bumps, just redness. So it can have a lot of different forms on the skin.
And so it itches, it's uncomfortable. I mean, you almost feel like you have a friend of ours, her husband, he had never experienced it before. And he's like, what is this? I was like, oh, it's that thing. Again, I don't know how to, I was like, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Right.
But I said, I've had this before. And he's like, is this going to ruin the vacation? He was inside for several days, didn't know what to put on it.
Right.
It makes you feel anxious. You feel like you have anxiety because it itches so bad and then it swells.
Right. And I did the one thing, I tried to power through it. I thought, well, this is my honeymoon. I'm going to enjoy myself. We go to try to play tennis. It actually made it so much worse. Then
Yeah.
I was like really hived up, swelling, and I even got like febrile. I had a fever.
Wow.
So it was just, you really have to take care of yourself. And it's tough. It's not an easy condition to just, run through.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are, and some people, they're like, I don't know what to bring with me in case that happens, or where should I go? Is there a pharmacy at the resort? What levels of care would you say, if they get this, that they should be doing?
Well, first of all, if they're a patient of mine, they know that they can contact me wherever they are. I will call in things if they're on their trip to Florida.
Oh, good to know.
I don't know what I could do if they're abroad, but I'll definitely help them through it.
Yeah.
I tell patients I'm on call like 24/7. So after hours, the office number goes to my cell directly.
Okay.
But it's the simple things, little hydrocortisone. You could find an aloe plant, definitely some ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And even sunblocks, though, I found didn't protect me from the eruption, because
Really?
sun shirts and all.
Wow.
I think it's just that strong of a sun that you get after being kind of hibernating in the Midwest all
How long
winter.
did it last for you?
It really lasted until I came home.
Wow.
And it can even last beyond there. We had a trip to Mexico, and my legs were just a little bit out exposed in the sun. I wasn't thinking about it. Maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That eruption, it's a little bit different. It's almost more of like a vasculitis meets a sunburn. Vasculitis is like inflammation at the level of the vessels, and that lasted on my legs for like 2 weeks. And it was
Wow.
a little scary. I thought, did I do damage?
Yeah.
So that I just used topical steroids, a little compression therapy, but it's also called a Disney rash. It's these things we learn after you're out of training. The Disney rash is when you've been on your feet all day and you're out in the sun, and you do get a little swelling and then a rash from just the activity all day.
And a lot of people ask that. If you're just tuning in, let me reintroduce my guest, Dr. Sarah Jensen, Regional Dermatology. And again, taking care of you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop those in now, or if you have to rush off to work or wherever your day is taking you. She is really, really good in answering your questions afterwards. You can tag her and myself in it. We'll be sure that you are heard. But if this has never happened to you before, it may. That's the other thing, Dr. Jensen. I think we've talked about this in the past, where people are like, "Oh, that doesn't happen to me. I always get tan, etc." And then all of a sudden, it happens. And this happened to my brother, and he was like, "I think I have sun poisoning. I've never had that in my life." Does it change as we get older?
It does. And if you think about it, a lot of times we're on different medications as we age. We might be on a blood pressure medicine, a cholesterol medicine, something or even an antibiotic if we're maybe got a little rosacea or something. So the things that we don't think about, maybe we weren't on those medicines when we were younger, or we just become a little bit more sensitive to the sun.
Yep, absolutely. And you just mentioned a few minutes ago about maybe wearing different types of sun shirts. Some people are like, I want to get a little color. I don't want to cover up. So you got to fight your battle here.
Yeah.
You have some that you recommend.
Yeah. The Coolabar is a good brand. You can get some at Athleta, some of these sports places will have them, but they just make it easier to wear that long sun shirt and not have to reapply. I mean, I myself, just a few weeks ago, I was in California picking up my daughter from college, and I tried to get it on my back, and I missed a few spots, and boy, you can really feel it. I thought, what is that sensation? It's kind of burning. So it's easier to just throw on a sun shirt, and they have ultraviolet protection like UPF. So I just find for gardeners and golfers, those are the things that I recommend. If they're not going to be putting the sunblock on, at least just like have a lightweight shirt that they can cover.
And people that go out on their deep sea fishing trips, those
right.
are all important. I grabbed one of those, so did my husband, before we went on a deep sea fishing trip, and I was like, oh, yep, this really does help.
Right. And it cools you off. 'Cause
Yes.
It stays wet when you're out in the sunshine. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. If you have any comments, any questions, drop them in. I'm going to look at all of our different platforms. Do you have anything that's worrying you a little bit? You want to maybe drop a picture into the comments and then say, hey, she'll say, yeah, you might want to come in for this. I want to thank all of you, by the way, that have been in to support Dr. Jensen in the past. And I know you're telling me, oh my gosh, I love having her back. We do as well. Dr. Sarah Jensen from Regional Dermatology. Again, 2 locations. Also follow them on social media. She's very active on there as well. So Festus and Chesterfield. We're going to talk about self-tanners and other aspects of what you can do to take care of yourself, again, so there's not long-term damage to you. And still, coming up, a 1-year membership free to one of our lucky viewers to Crunch Fitness. And we welcome them on board along with our other sponsors. Don't go anywhere.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
We're at Dude's Playground a few weeks early, and there he is. That's the Duder. We're going to have you out here on June 21st with Dude and Rich Melching, and all of us are here to raise money so they continue to do the great work that they're doing. It's the 3rd annual Dude's Playground Poker Run, June 21st. You've heard us talk about it. Now we're out here. Look at this place. It is absolutely beautiful. The whole calmness, the respite, helping mental, physical, and spiritual for our disabled veterans. We have all vehicles that are invited out that day, so spread the word. Let's continue to help them do the wonderful work that they're out here doing. Again, June 21st, spread the word. Noon is when we kick things off. It's going to be an all-day affair. Can't wait.
My house is so outdated and old. Can you help?
Let's take down this wall and add a support beam there.
Or just replace the furniture.
I love it.
New sofa, chaise lounge, and tables from Carroll House.
What about this bedroom?
Let's tear down this wall.
Or a new bed, dresser, and accessories.
It's like a whole new room.
Get free in-home design, fast free delivery, and free financing too. Skip the remodel. Add new furnishings from Carroll House for your new perfect room. Because you like nice things.
And welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. We've got about 60 of you on right now. Again, what we always ask you to do is tell your family, tell your friends, share this right now because this is important news. In fact, I always pick a word of the day when I wake up in the morning. I say my prayers, and today I was like, protection in so many levels, right? My husband heading out to protect you as an officer, protection that we're talking about. All those levels. So that's my word of the day. Pick yours and start your day with some positivity, which you're getting today. We also love to educate, and that's what we're doing with Dr. Sarah Jensen, again, with Regional Dermatology. So we've got a question, and again, drop any questions in live, or you can ask later. Julie said, Dr. Jensen, what kind of makeup that doesn't break out your face? I want to wear makeup more, but my face breaks out. So it's probably more so like, there's so many levels of that, right? That's a whole nother show that we could do. But what are we putting underneath our makeup, which we have discussed before?
Well, so you mean to help with the breakouts, you think?
I would, well, maybe both.
Okay.
So maybe what's in, I mean, that's where you have to read. But
right.
I would more so say, Julie, for her, it would be, what are we putting on to protect our skin prior to you putting on your makeup?
Well, and there's actually a really nice formulation. I don't carry it in my office, but it's called Color Science. And it's actually it's a powder, but it serves as your sunblock. So it's got a mineral-based sunblock in it.
Okay.
And they do have a cream version, which is like the more the foundation. And they have different like levels, like fair, medium, and darker skin. But it's like a powder that you shake out, and you can reapply it throughout the day. So people who don't like creams, or sometimes men don't like different creams and lotions on their face, and some women too. That's a nice way to reapply your sunblock. And I wouldn't think that would tend to break people out because it's really not occluding your skin. It's just a powder that goes on.
Yeah, and I know some of you have asked in the past. We will bring on my makeup artist that I absolutely love, Sherry Anderson. She can help you with many levels of things, but there are people who said, I would love to wear makeup, but I break out all the time. So you maybe would want to come in and have some kind of testing done with Dr. Jensen to find out what in fact are you allergic to, and then maybe see if there's a common thread there in your makeup, right?
Well, and I found out, I was doing this promo for this product. It was a natural-based product, and the woman doing my makeup, I told her, the things I'm using now, or things I used in the past, don't seem to work for me now. Now that I'm hit menopause, the same makeup, the Bobbi Brown stuff I was using, just wasn't working.
Right.
So actually, we had a consult at the Nordstrom counter. It was an hour-long consult. We went over what products I could use, and my whole line of products changed so much for the better.
Yeah.
So I think just like, just with the light eruption, you might not have had it when you're younger and then you develop when you're later. Same with like makeups and things that you use on a daily basis. It definitely morphs as I age.
Well, and it should be changing anyway. I think you've probably seen on Instagram, or you name the social media channels, that they will say, as you get 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, you should be changing your makeup. As you have mature skin, it should not stay the same. And if that's the case, and that was where maybe you're going wrong as well. But yeah, Julie, good question. question there. Let's see. Michelle said, I love my Cooler Bar that I wear while I'm working in the yard. So she was mentioning we could put on like some light shirts that keep us cool, but also hats.
Hats are important.
Hats are so important right now. And I love that you said this to me because I went on a motorcycle ride yesterday. And then after we got, obviously had my helmet on, after we got to the place to have lunch, I threw on a ball cap. Okay, so you're saying we all love our ball caps, and you said you were guilty of it as well.
I love them too. Yeah.
But we should be wearing these kind of hats?
Yeah, and they're not as bad as some people think. It's hard for them to get used to wearing a wide brim hat.
Yeah.
But as you get used to them and you find kind of the style for you, they can be so helpful. And what I found is, well, one, if you ever look at, I have a lot of patients who just wear ball caps, and you can see their forehead is very protected, but nothing else, like not the neck, the sides of the face, their ears. And that's where we see a lot of the sun damage develop. So these wide brim hats really protect all those areas. And I found when I wear them around, in the pool with the kids, I can see better. It's kind of like shields my vision as well. You don't realize how much glare there is out there.
Right.
So we've been selling out of our hats. Like we've had them over the winter and we've just had to restock. We carry a Wallaroo brand. They have the UPF protection as well. Not all of them. Some of them are straw and they do let a little bit of light through.
Right.
But most of them are very protective.
Are they from Australia? They sound like they would be.
I think they might be based out of Colorado. They're definitely a U.S. company.
Okay, interesting.
It might be female owned too. I don't know.
And so people can come in and get those from you?
Right. Yeah, we just made a huge order. Yeah.
So, hats have definitely made, from a fashion standpoint, they have made a comeback. So now it's like, oh, it's really cute. Where in the past, people were like, oh my gosh, I look like a dork in this. Okay, but you are protecting yourself. And she came up with a really good point here. You think of guys. Guys typically love wearing ball caps. And girls do too, with a little ponytail out. But what part of their face still gets burnt?
Yeah, it really all of it, like 3/4 of the face. The only thing you're really covering is your forehead,
right?
And I love them too. They're easy to throw on.
Yes.
But yeah, wider brim would be great.
Okay, again, if you have a question for our doctor, just drop it for us in the comments now, or as I mentioned, you can ask later as well. So for those who are saying, nope, I've listened to Dr. Jensen and I am going to protect myself when I'm running errands. I'm applying my sunscreen. So yesterday's comment came up that I left the house, made sure I had sunscreen on my face, put it on my ears, on my neck, and then anything that was exposed. And I made sure that my arms were all covered up. However, we left the house at 10:45 in the morning. And then by the time we were heading back, it's probably 4 something. So one of the girls asked a really good question and she said, but should you be reapplying? And I was like, well, it was at home, right? And we'll also talk about sprays to lotions. So I sprayed. Should I be carrying something with me in a bag and reapplying?
Well, if you're out in it, yes. I mean, if on a regular day, say my day, I'm in the office all day long, so I'm just applying it on the face, forearms, back of the neck. But if I'm out extended, I'll throw something in, like a little, balm to put on, a spray, whatever I can use.
How often should we be reapplying?
It should be like every 2 to 3 hours if you're out, and if you're really out in like sweating or in the pool, then I'd be reapplying more often.
Yeah, I want to think about all of you that are active because everybody's excited to get out of the house, get their vitamin D, right? That we talked about. And pretty much from a international unit on a daily basis should be 5,000.
Well, that's what I take because I tend to just run low. I am indoors a lot. But I've heard different recommendations from my patients through my patients from their doctors. And they're either taking 2,000, 3,000. Some are up to 10 or 50,000 if they're very low.
On a day?
No, that would be more of like a weekly dose.
Okay, yeah.
But that's why I think it's important to talk to your primary doctor and you can get the blood test. It's very easy. Some check it, some just supplement because most of us run low. And it's vitamin D is very important for your immune system. So fighting off infection, fighting off cancer. I know when I take my vitamin D, I can go through a winter and really, not get sick as often as I normally would.
Yes, vitamin D is so important. And yes, a simple blood test. If you've never had it done, have them check. What are you low on? Are you low on vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin K, etc.? Also, for ladies and men alike, get a blood panel done for your hormones. We say it all the time, right? It'll be life-changing for you. Trust me on that. Okay, so levels of things that you can do. So yes, so this woman was correct that I probably should have reapplied. So what should we be carrying with us? You just mentioned a balm. Are you, I did spray. It's easier for us, but is it better for us to have lotions or sprays?
Well, I like to start off with a lotion or cream because you want with that solid base. And some people do like the sprays, and I understand it too. But a lot of those are either avobenzone or oxybenzone, which is a chemical sunblock.
Okay.
Those do tend to be more irritating. So when people say, "Oh, I get a breakout or a rash," I'll tell them you definitely try to go with a physical sunblock that has zinc oxide or titanium dioxide.
Okay.
If you get it tinted, there's even another level of iron oxide, so you've got like triple protection. And a lot of those are very natural products. So when people are worried about, reactions to the sunblock, those are the products that are usually in the more of the infant or the baby line, the younger kids line. So you can find those over the counter. We carry Elta in my office. I'm thinking about carrying this Blosoma product. This is my new favorite lately. I did a talk with the owner of that company, and it's so plant-based, so like thoughtful, all of the ingredients she has, and she's located here in St. Louis. She works in the city over on Lindell.
I love that. So
Yeah.
you're not carrying it yet. You're thinking of carrying it.
I'm in the process of it.
You're okay.
It's on my to-do list. That's a long list, though.
You need a Jenny. You need them to say, "Hey, do this." So Blissoma. And
Mhm.
so what do you love most about it?
It's the way it goes on light, and
Oh.
so it would work for men and women both. It's got a light tint. The tint comes from some kind of algae out of Hawaii. I mean, the details she's gone into in this product. Like, I wanted to have her on, but she was busy. She's running her own practice, and so I'd love to have her on and talk about all the different ingredients in her products, her line.
So speaking of products, and this is one that she actually does have, I'm going to take a break. So the next level that I was going to was people who said, "Okay, no, I don't do that, but I do want some color, and I do protect myself, but I want color." So what do we do with self tanners? Are they good for us? I mean, I went in the other day to, it doesn't matter who, right? It's just one of the many places that we have here in town. They do a great job. I wanted some color on me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to get sprayed." I always wonder though, is any of this stuff bad for us? What should we be using? She's got one that she absolutely loves that you carry, right? Okay,
Right.
so we're going to talk about that. Again, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments for us. Jenny's doing a great job moderating. Hayden here, one of my new interns, and thank you to Zach for directing, and to all of you, of course, for watching. Bring your questions to the table with Dr. Sarah Jensen on this Medical Monday.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
And welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show and our guest, Dr. Sarah Jensen with Regional Dermatology. Be sure to follow them on social. And then when it's time for you to say, "I haven't been in, I need to get a check," go to Dr. Jensen. You'll love her. Everyone that's been to her have said, "Oh, we really love her." Yes, Regional Dermatology. And again, here are their locations. The original one that she started with down in Festus, and then she opened Chesterfield. What has it been, a couple years?
Just over a year ago,
Oh,
a year and a half. Yeah.
Year and a half, yeah. So again, 2 locations for you, your family, your friends. Again, just peace of mind. It's the biggest thing, and get checked. There's a lot of things on your body, and if there's nobody else at your home, by the way, and you're trying to look in mirrors like, "Oh, what's that spot?" Obviously, if you have a family member, you have a friend, they may be able to say, "Hey, you might want to get that checked." Again, some people don't like to go to a doctor because they're afraid of what they're going to be told.
Right.
But you don't want it to be there and then it's there for a long, long time. Again, we always talk about early detection.
Right.
That's what's important. But you probably do still, I hear it from men all the time. I don't want to be told something's bad.
Well, yeah, but I think the earlier we find things, the better your prognosis.
Correct.
So, yeah, I do have people who definitely wait. more so at my Festus office, I think that they'll kind of tolerate things and, wait to get in. And also we do have a much longer wait there. In Chesterfield, we can get you in within the same week. So that's really a blessing.
Right, because we talked about that when she first came on with us, that it was like people were saying 6, 10, 12 months to get into their dermatologist. And she was like, nope, I just opened Chesterfield. I can get you in here. Do that. Or I would really say, again, take care of your loved ones and say, just go in. Just for peace of mind, just go in. So we talked about self-tanners. Okay, so let me ask the question first. And again, if you have any questions, drop them in for us so Dr. Jensen can answer those for you. Self-tanners, is there anything in the self-tanning, whether we're doing it ourselves or we're going and getting sprayed, that's bad for us?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, you might inhale some of it, I think, for the spray tanners, but it's really kind of just a dye for the skin. So it really just colors the skin itself. This is where I learn a lot from my patients, because I do tend to run a little olive tone. So I do color quickly. So I really haven't had to use it myself, but my daughters have used them and my patients use them. And so I actually had a patient come through. She was my neighbor, and she was sitting, I think she brought her mother-in-law in, and one of her legs was really tanned looking, the other wasn't. And I said, what's going on here? She said, well, she was representing this company, Neora, which I was so impressed with her results. She was doing kind of a test, a control, and it looked like such a natural color. So we started carrying that product because I thought, well, we should give people an alternative to the sun. If we're just telling them to stay in all day or to cover up all day, people do like a little color. And so, and I've always said, the sun is like chocolate. You can have little bits throughout the day. You don't want to lay in it all day, right? But so what I've learned from this is we really want to exfoliate the skin, with the scrub, especially the rough areas like elbows and knuckles, and knees, because that dye will pick up in those areas even more. So that's kind of the telltale sign that you've had, spray tan or a spray tan. And you definitely want to be careful about palms because you want to make sure that the palms don't show it, because that will hold on to the color as well. And so, and then after the self tanner's on, you do want to continue to exfoliate through the, even afterwards, just to keep that from, kind of peeling off,
It's funny because people will have it done and then afterwards they're like, oh, well, I don't want to take a shower. It looks so good right now. I want it to last as long as it can. But there are products that will allow that to stay longer. So let's talk about the one that you carry in-house.
Yeah, so this is the product. It's a foam. It's a Neora. And you just really, all you need is a little mitt, it's cheap from the dollar store. And you just apply it and it goes on without streaking. And it's a really nice color. It doesn't have that orange tint. The other one I like, if people don't want to kind of spend the extra money, is Jergens. They have it's a facial color, and it's a gradual application. So every day you put it on, you get a little bit more color throughout the treatment.
I mean, you're looking at the picture right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks fantastic.
It looks really great.
The reason I started going and having someone do it, like I've actually had the person spray me, which I thought was weird. I'm like, can't I just go into a booth? Now I just go into a booth, but you have to play around with it because again, if they know what they're doing, they'll actually put this little thing up against you and go, well, this is the best color for you. And then maybe you can, add things to it. You mentioned the aspect of inhaling. So they now have something where you put it, just like you would put in your ears, you put in your nose so you're not inhaling it in. It's probably feedback of, hey, maybe, I don't want this, I don't want that. But I never wanted to do it on my own because I always felt like I was going to miss someplace. Or again, that's the reason why you do need to have mitts on, because we don't want to have it all over your hands. But it's also when you're putting it on, are you getting wet, and are you going to streak within a couple of hours because you didn't think of? I mean, literally, you can literally have water just kind of splash on you, and then you'll have all these little splotches.
Right. Yeah. I learned a lot from self tanning from my middle daughter, who's a dancer. So they often, they're dancing in the middle of winter, and so they do want the spray tans. And then we have some really good, businesses in the St. Louis area for that.
But you want to look as natural as possible. I mean, I automatically, because I was around the fitness industry, go to the bodybuilding world. They all look so orange. And I was like, I hope over the years, obviously it's gotten better, but it used to be like, oh my gosh, it's like shoe polish that they would put on them. It's like, you don't want that. So let's go back through the products that Dr. Jensen is recommending that she has at her office, the hat that she has. We'll go back if you just tuned in and do a recap for you of all the different products that we've talked about. So from the self-tanning aspect, the product is called again?
It's Neora.
Okay. Yeah. And you carry that, is it in-house for you right now?
We carry it now, as an option.
So there we go. So we might as well support support those that support us. There it is on the screen for you. So that's one. The other is the hats that we discussed. Do you have some in-house right
the
now?
Wallaroo hats, they all of a sudden just went in the spring. So my staff just put in a new order for both offices. So that's coming in probably this week. And those are great sellers. I mean, and some of them they're scrunchy that you just pack them up and
that's perfect.
they're perfect for travel.
They bounce back.
Yeah.
They're not getting all crushed.
And washable. Yeah.
And then you're again in the process of Blissoma.
Yeah. Looking at Blissoma because I'm using it myself. And I always feel like if I like it, I want to promote it and offer people what I think they're going to enjoy.
Absolutely.
We do carry Elta products as well. We have a lot of those because I use those more for the body. The Blissoma it's a little bit more boutique-y. And so if I'm applying for the body, I'm going to use something a little less expensive,
Boutique-y, bougie.
Yeah.
We talked about the shirts. You don't carry these in the office, right?
Those I don't carry. I usually just recommend the Kula Bar. I've also gotten mine from Athleta, some of these local stores,
Again, but all these levels of things that you should be thinking about when you're going out. You still want to enjoy your time, when you're running errands, you're running to the zoo. There's so many things out. There's festivities and festivals and stuff that are coming up. We don't want you to just stay in the house and say, well, gosh, can I leave the house? Yes, you just have to be thinking an extra level. That's why I love bringing her on, because if I was supposed to have reapplied a few hours later, then I'm going to have to pack that. It's really being prepared.
Yeah, it is. And you can get the sticks too, so you're not worried about it spilling in your purse. We have an Elta stick that's just almost like a large chapstick that goes on the skin. And kids like that, they can use it on their face, so.
I think if we all look back or you think about lifeguards and everyone's always like, gosh, I don't want to have the white all over me. We've come a long way.
Oh, we've come a very long way. Yeah.
Okay. And then but before we wrap up, from an SPF standpoint, because we've discussed this, but I don't think we can say it enough. What is the number that we should be looking for?
Really, it doesn't have to be that high. I tell people anywhere like 15 to 30 and up. If you look at these graphs of like the sunblock number versus like the coverage, it really plateaus out. So I think that when people are using 80 and 100, it's not any better. Sometimes it's more expensive. And I think they get this false sense of security that their product is better. So you don't have to spend that extra money. I like to look at the ingredients. I like zinc or titanium. If you see those are really good products. And again, and Elta even carries a spray that has a mineral sunblock. It does go on a little bit kind of milky, so you do have to rub it through, but that's the best type of spray I could get.
And the number itself, what does it mean?
You're taxing my medical school brain. That is it's about how long you can be out in the sun, and it's a multiple. But all I have to remember is 15 and up.
Because some people used to say, does 15 mean that I have to reapply every 15 minutes?
There is something
30 minutes,
to it,
50
but
minutes?
I haven't thought about that since I've been in residency. So I'll have to get back to
that's
you on
for
that
next show. Because I mean, that is the thing. It's like, oh my gosh, if I'm only using 15, I should be reapplying every 15 minutes. You're gonna be kidding me.
No, you could reapply every 2 to 3 hours. It just depends on your moisture level and if you're swimming or you're biking,
I was just going to say,
those things.
from a water standpoint, it's one thing for us to just be out in it. Secondly, if we are athletic and we're biking, we're out on the motorcycle, we're running, etc. And then if you're in and out of a pool, do we need to be looking for something that says that it's
water resistant?
Yes.
So I like that. We carry Elta Sport, we carry Elta Pure, and Active.
Okay.
The Active is a little bit much. I can see it on my skin the very next day after a shower. So none of my staff like that one. My kids definitely won't use it. So I've stayed away from that one because it's so permanent. It's on the very next day.
Yeah.
Sport's probably my favorite.
Okay.
And I can see my sunblock even after I get out of the water, and that's kind of what I want. I want to be able to know that sheen is there, that it's protecting me.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, okay, I put it on and now it's off of me already. That's what I always worry about, especially when I'm on vacation. I will say I put it on, but then you're having fun, right? You're in the water, or maybe you're going up to a swim up bar and you completely forget about it.
Right.
You kind of do have to remind each other. Jenny just said, what about tanning beds at the gyms?
Yeah, I can't recommend those. There are times that we recommend light therapy for certain dermatologic conditions like psoriasis or eczema. But there's other options I think that would be safer and just more reliable. The tanning bed, I think the last time I looked, it increases your risk of melanoma like by 5-fold. And we have melanoma on both sides of my family. So I feel really strongly about it because it's not it's really one of the cancers. No one wants cancer, but that's a cancer that you really don't want to come into,
I
contact
know
with.
these, it's a phenomenal question. And here's the thing, we just brought Crunch Fitness on, and they were talking about all the amenities you get. Red light therapy.
Yeah, no, red
They
light's
have
fun.
that's good for
That's
us, right?
okay. Yeah.
And then they have the hydro massage beds, which we all love. And then they're like, "Would you want to go tan?" I'm like, "Mm-mm." And they're like, "No, no, no, it's got these balls." I mean, that's the thing. Over the years, all these tanning places say, "Yeah, but now we've got this protection, this protection." I was like, I did a story one time, and I'll never forget it, on a woman when I was in television that had really bad skin cancer. And she's like, "Monica, I am here to get the word out, and I hope that my story can help others understand that this happened because I decided that I was vain," as she put it, "and I wanted to be tan, and I was tanning in the tanning beds."
Right.
Or you have the people who say, "I'm getting ready to go on vacation, Dr. Jensen, and I feel like I have to have a little base on me before I get to Mexico or California
Right,
or whatever."
right.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I try to avoid it. That's why I really like the Helio Care, because that gives you some extra protection. I do have my patients who have PMLE and the light eruption we talked about, the sun poisoning, and some of the recommended treatment is a little bit of a sun before they go, so that they can kind of adjust to it. So in that case, it's a little bit more medical,
Yeah.
but overall, I try to avoid the tanning beds, and it's not just the skin cancer, it's also just aging. A lot of my patients say, "I want to tighten my skin. I want my, support back." And I'm like, we kind of lost that with all the sun exposure
Yeah.
over the years.
There you go. Okay, and then what about those sunscreens that are now in powder brushes? Looks like a makeup brush.
That's what I talked about. The Color Science, it's a great one. I was going to carry it, although I had to have such a big order for my small office. I couldn't afford it. They'd expire before I could get rid of them. But I love that product. I've used it myself, and I've got it for my daughters as well, because I think it's an easier one to put on. I've also thought about it for scalp, because we do thin hair over time, and some people like visors, or they're golfers and they don't want to wear a hat.
Right.
So they'll use that as for scalp protection, because if you've had a burn on your scalp, like, you'll never forget that.
Correct. And that's the other thing. And that's the reason why we mentioned wearing the hats, etc. All these levels of people not thinking, "Oh, you're just putting it on your skin," of what you think is exposed, but is it going through the hair? It's also, people are like, "Oh, do those, SPF, protection in whatever you're seeing in clothes that I'm buying. Do those actually work?"
Yeah.
Yes?
They definitely do. If
There
you
you go.
get the UPF, they'll have a UPF factor, the ultraviolet protection factor in them.
So we should be maybe looking for that in swimsuits and things like that?
Yeah.
Again, isn't she awesome? She's a plethora of knowledge. Hold on. One more that bounced in before we have to wrap up. Jill Wolken, welcome to the show. "I have very thin skin at the age of 66. I bruise and my skin tears very easily. Is there any way to repair the damage or prevent future damage? I'm in the sun a lot, but I wear sunscreen regularly."
Yeah, I had the same
religiously, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had the same problem, actually. And you and I both had Becky Dr. Lynn from Evora on. I found, and from some of my patients, when I supplemented my hormones, I think the estrogen, progesterone, it actually helped my bruising a lot. Now you have to talk to your doctor about whether that's appropriate, at what age, and with the risk factors and history. But I did find that supplementing my estrogen helped my bruising a lot. I also would get the skin tears. So I found a few things. One, there is a bruise cream that one of our listeners, viewers had mentioned on the last show. It's a bruise cream by Skin Intensives. It's run by a dermatologist, backer, and it's an arnica based product. I think it might have some vitamin C in it, and if you use it every day, it can help, not just when the bruise comes up. The other thing I do is, you see runners who wear compression stockings that go from the ankle to the knee.
Yes.
Sometimes if I'm doing work around the house, I'll wear those as like a barrier. So if I'm like active and doing things, I've got an extra layer of protection. I found that really helps.
Okay. And then Carrie just brought up a good point and said, don't forget to put sunscreen on your feet too, if they are exposed.
Yeah.
It's all those things that people are not thinking about. Again, you're thinking about what you see in front of you, but your ears, your scalp, again, behind you, your feet, anything. Again, it's all just thinking that extra layer. Yes, the bruise cream is awesome. That was Julie. She had said last time. You got it off of Amazon. Okay, good to know. Again, all these comments that are coming in later, Continue to do so. So as you watch the show, and then right now, as the show wraps up, take the show and then share it out to your family, to your friends, to your followers. And this is where they get educated. This is where we are, again, the word of the day. This is where we get an opportunity to protect them. Okay, so since I'm wearing yellow and you've got the kind of that, we're pulling those colors together.
Yeah, spring tones.
How about we exactly? Well, how about we pick our yellow book? Somebody asked me, what are the books that I read from on set? They're called 100 Days to Freedom From, and we do Fear and Anxiety gets chosen a lot. That's the purple book. There's also anger, there's depression, there's shame, and then there's overeating. I'm going to pick the yellow one. Just seems fitting because what of the colors?
Right.
I think it's shame, by the way. It is. So we'll pick the yellow one. 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. And all of you that are sticking with us, we have our winner chosen. So we're going to tell you the first, and we've got from now through the end of December, one time a month, we're going to give away a 1-year membership, absolutely free to you, to take all those amenities, minus the tanning bed.
Right.
I mean, it's an incredible gym, 45,000 square feet, and I am just in love with this place. I've been around the gym industry since, 1999. I've been a trainer, and I have fallen in love with this place. They are the most incredible staff I've ever seen, and just truly some of the best equipment also. So if you haven't been, they just opened their location in Manchester. They started here in our Midwest area in Florissant, and they have one coming up in St. Peter's, and then you're going to see them bounce all over the place. Crunch Fitness, welcome aboard, by the way, our first national sponsor, and we're thrilled to have you along with us. So we're going to take our break, and then when we come back, we'll read from 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. We've got our winner that we will announce, and we'll give you Dr. Jensen's locations again so you can reach out to her, again, for peace of mind. So don't go anywhere.
Carroll House is now the contemporary furniture design center.
We now have the largest selection of the latest ultra-modern furniture.
Sleek European designs, unique metals, bold lacquers, plush fabrics, and retro styles.
Modern furnishings with exclusive collections only at Carroll House.
Plus free financing, free delivery and setup, and free in-home design.
Visit the St. Louis Center for Contemporary Design inside our 3.5-acre showrooms at Carroll House.
Because you like nice things.
And welcome back again. What a great show. I agree. Somebody just said, what great information. She always brings it. I mean, literally brings it. Dr. Sarah Jensen, again, with Regional Dermatology. And she is on with us once a month. So be sure to give us your questions. If you've got questions or comments about something that we talked about today or in a past show, or something that you want her to go a little bit more in depth on, just let us know that. By the way, coming up this Thursday, another one of our mobile Monicas. We have so many week after week after week coming up throughout the summer. Jay Bloom is where we will be this Thursday, 12:30 p.m., and they are located at 5230 Missouri 94 in St. Peter's. Jennifer Bonacorsi, love you. Loved having you on to tell your story about a month or so ago. She also was one of our models in our makeover show at the Vault. That's the picture you're seeing there. We get a chance to go behind the scenes. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? We get a step behind the curtain and find out the incredible work that they do with their beautiful jewelry and how they give back also. So we're going to Jay Bloom in St. Peter's, and we'd love to see you there, by the way, 12:30 p.m. If you can't be there, be sure to watch that show and then spread the word about the jewelry line that maybe you're just finding out about. Again, Jay Bloom this Thursday. Can't wait to be there. There's some other great mobile Monicas coming up for you at Exit 11 Coffee, at Dude's Playground throughout the month of June. We only have one week left for maybe your business if you want to be a part of a mobile Monica. At the end of June, June. We've got a couple lined up already in July at Huga, which, by the way, Dr. Jensen, you would love. I got to have you go there with me. If you love like acai bowls and smoothies and healthy food, Huga is in Lake St. Louis, and we just booked that one. We also have NCJW, another makeover show coming up in July. By the way, you can find all of these, because I know I just ran through them for you real quick, on my website, TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Just go to the calendar of events. Okay, the winner for Crunch Fitness coming up for you in just a second. We're on day 38 of 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. A great opportunity. Let your good deeds shine out for all to see. This is Matthew 5, verse 16. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, about a third of the food that the world produces never ever gets eaten. There are many reasons for this, but one is that many fruits and vegetables simply don't look presentable enough. They're deemed to be too undersized. Maybe they're oddly shaped or damaged to be of value, so they're thrown away. In the United States, the statistics are even higher. But some estimates, about 40% of the food in America, say it goes uneaten. When you sin in a way that leaves you broken and deeply ashamed, you might feel that you've become worthless to God and could just as well be thrown away. But nothing could be further from the truth. When you've been broken by sin, you have a unique opportunity to offer the world a powerful witness. And if you genuinely repent, submit to the Lord, and change your ways, people will see the power of God demonstrated in you in ways they may never have seen otherwise. It doesn't mean Christians should go out and sin spectacularly so they can have a greater witness, but it does mean you can still be useful to God. In fact, in the Bible, many people like David and Peter achieved great things for God after committing their own terrible sins. Just as an undersized banana or a weirdly shaped tomato can still feed someone who's hungry, so your less than perfect life can still be an inspiration to someone who needs hope. I actually like these organizations that are out there, and they actually sell those that you think were oddly shaped, but they're still, again, don't judge a book by its cover. It's still nutritious. It's still good for us just because it doesn't look perfect, Instagram worthy, right? Dan Schaefer said, you can argue with ideas, you can challenge beliefs, you can roll your eyes in weariness at new programs and fads in the church, but when someone's life is drastically and permanently changed, people have no recourse but to pay attention. Here's your prayer for the day. Dear Jesus, thank you for dying on the cross for my sins, for making it possible for me to be a new creature. Help me now to live in a way that gives help and hope to others who have sinned and feel worthless. All right. So we always like to bring a little bit of faith into the end of the show. So 100 Days to Freedom from, those are the books from our friend Stephen Arterburn. And then at home, it's Sarah Young, the Jesus Calling and the Jesus Listens books. There you go. I know a lot of people were asking me that the other day. Okay, you ready? It's time for... Told you to tune in Friday morning. We were giving you all the details on that. What did you have to do? You had to either on Facebook or on Instagram, you had to share the page. You had to like our page and Crunch Fitness, tag a couple of friends that needed a little motivation. And Michael Gray, you did just that. Congratulations to Michael Gray, Michael T. Gray at that. You are our winner, and I can't wait to get you all hooked up with Crunch Fitness. And thank you to Crunch, by the way, for being one of our many sponsors, along with Regional Dermatology, Defiance Ridge Vineyards. We also have Yuppie Puppy Pet Spa, Carroll House Furniture, Just Pools just coming back on, and then Dot Fleshman with Coldwell Banker. And again, if you have maybe you've got a festival coming up, you've got a really cool event, and you want a mobile Monica, we've got those. And then we have our regular sponsors that are on with us as well. So thank you to Crunch Fitness for giving us the opportunity to give away a membership a month for a year to some of our wonderful viewers. And we'll be doing that again coming up for you in the end of June. So congratulations to Michael. And thank you to Dr. Jensen again for coming in with us with Regional Dermatology. Let's give our locations one more time for you. One of them is in Festus, that's the original, and then one in the Chesterfield area. You can also go online and follow them on social media or check out their website, and there it is for you on the screen, regionaldermatology.com. Again, good morning to all of you that are just signing in. If you have questions, thank you. You guys rock. Well, good. Thank you. We appreciate that. Good information. Thank you, ladies. Have to go. Yes. Get on with your day. Share it, though, before you head out. Share this now. You'll also be seeing in my social media reels and stories stories, some of the information that we feel like you really needed. Maybe you need to hear it again. Sometimes it's repetition, just like reapplying. We need to have it again and again and again to educate and protect ourselves. Great to see you.
You too.
Looking forward to seeing you next month as well. So if there's any questions for Dr. Jensen, again, you can drop them into the comments or load us up with them. Shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com, and we'll put those into next month. Everybody have a wonderful one. Do you like the circus? Ooh, tomorrow, Jack Marsh is our guest with Circus Flora. We'll talk all about them, and maybe we'll give some tickets for you and your family to get a chance to see it. It actually starts this weekend. So that's on tap for you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, and remember, be kind. God bless you all.